Hey guys, I guess it's been a few days since I made a regular video. So last time we were over here in Mongolia, and so to travel more than 5,000 miles away, how about we take a look at Cuba? I've decided my favorite places to make videos on are the places with very little street view. Generally just a lot of places that most people don't know a whole lot about. So it's kind of crazy to think about it. We always talk about North America and South America, but we always forget there's a ton of little islands right here in between them. And Cuba is actually pretty massive. Let's see, from one end here to the other, it's about 700 miles across. So let's see what we can find around the street views. So let's just start out with the major cities here. So one way you could really look at Cuba, it's kind of like in North Korea, but with a much more incompetent government. But at least it's a very warm and tropical climate, so they've got that on their side. But either way, the people that live here have to deal with a lot of crap. So as you can see here, it's every hipster's favorite image, except that the people here actually know who Che Guevara is. But at least they get their very pretty monument in the center of town. Alright, now this really stands out to me on the map. The Necropolis Cristobal Colon. And I'm looking up close. These aren't houses here. This is a graveyard or a cemetery, whatever you want to call this. The necropolis is in the center. But you got this building in the center, and then just tombs everywhere. Graves everywhere. It kind of seems like they didn't want to bury people underground, so these are just above ground burials. But hey, it looks like it draws in a lot of tourism. I guess you got your own above ground catacombs over here. Alright, so enough of the main city here. Let's take a look around the island. Because with such a big place, there's a lot of diversity in landscapes. So I'd say that this place does look quite a bit like what you would expect around the southeast. Around like Florida or Louisiana. You've got a lot of marshland. But then there's also a whole lot of just forests. Like you look over here, and this is just straight woods. I think that looks really cool on the maps. When you try and look up close, there's no way to see through all that. But there are quite a few beaches over here. I mean, I guess the more borders you have, the more beaches you have. Not that you really get to decide the shape of your island, but... Wow, dang, this actually looks really nice, this little bay here. I don't really know how great the tourism is for Cuba. It is definitely possible for you to book a plane ticket out there and go stay in a hotel. But I've also heard that it can be kind of difficult. Like they have really strict security. Kind of like the whole thing about North Korea too. Where the government is just like, alright, we're checking all your cameras. But man, they've got quite the jungle out here. I would say it looks a lot like Jamaica. But I mean, that's not too surprising considering Jamaica's right there. It's about as close as you can get. Let's check out this other town. So, something you hear a lot is that Cuba has a lot of old school cars. And that's not necessarily because they just really like old-fashioned cars. It's because I think it's something like they can't get any more imports. And now nobody wants to send them cars. Okay, this is interesting. So usually on the street view... on the map, it's just a straight line, and you can click down the road to travel down it. But this person took the liberty of just taking a picture every few seconds, and so there's just circles all the way down this road. You got a long trail of individual pictures here. I guess that's what happens when you kind of have to improvise. The Google cars don't come to you. You know, it's kind of strange to say, but Cuba is a bit more of a controversial location, mostly just because, you know, anytime anything relates to politics, people just go crazy. And so you've got a lot of people pushing for socialism in the United States, and then there's a lot of people who had actual socialism in Cuba that's just like, no, you don't want that. You might get some pretty pictures from this place, but it's still a very poor country. Let me see. I remember finding a really cool looking place over here. Let's see if I can find it again. Well, this is not what I was looking for, but this is a pretty cool picture. It's always interesting when you see mountains that have like vertical walls on them. Most mountains out there, They're gradual up to a point, and then they have a slope to them. So it's really unique when it's just such a steep wall. And something was really messed up with this picture here. Yeah, so this must be a pretty unique thing to this region, to have these kind of like really steep mountains with the trees growing all of them. And then I don't know why anyone would go through the trouble of trying to paint this. It looks kind of dangerous. But also, whoever maintains this grass does a great job. I've been working landscaping the past few months, so like I mow lawns a few times a week. So anytime I see grass, like anywhere on the map I'm seeing this grass, I'm like, wow, are they mowing this? Like, that's a huge yard. And I'm thinking like what it would be like to mow this yard, because that's just how you think when you mow like 50 yards a week. It's cool that they've got like this sort of hidden farmland. There's, like I said, Cuba's a pretty large place. You don't realize there's so much hidden throughout the whole place. So yeah, something about this little area right over here. This is where those really steep mountains are, and then there's like farmland all around it. And then this is where that big open field is. Okay, now here we go. This was pretty much the one I was looking for. So there's like this bar or restaurant or something just in this cave. And I don't know, it looks like they do some sort of stage performance over here too. I just really like the open grass right here next to these really rocky and tree-covered mountains. And then from out here we can look inside the cave. Like I've always said, I'm always a bigger fan of the nature rather than looking at cities and urban places. And so I'm actually a pretty big fan of this. I might actually want to see this one day. Man, this seriously looks like something out of like a fantasy land. Like all of these just perfect looking trees sticking out of the jungle. It's just so surreal. I always think that the 360 pictures like this are so funny, where this guy's just like, hey, come on, let's take a picture. We're going to put it on the internet. It'll be so cool. And she's just like, come on, Dad, why are we doing this? Let's take a look over at Guantanamo Bay. Is this it? Yeah, I think this is it. Some, like, military base between the U.S. and Cuba. Apparently there's landmines hidden all over the place around here. And there's also no street view pictures at all, so I guess we can't see much of it. But, I mean, I see a lot of warehouses, a lot of docks, a lot of airports. But they've got their beaches still. There's beaches everywhere. Blind Beach, Blue Beach, Conned Beach, whatever that says, beach. Hidden Beach, Chapman Beach. They call it Hidden Beach because it's in a restricted area. Oh, here's a picture. This is as close as we can get to Guantanamo Bay. It looks just like all the other beaches. Every country has their big cities and they all have their small towns. But every city still has a very unique look to it. But yeah, a lot of these towns just look very run down, like they haven't been maintained in decades. Oh, we found Colombia, Cuba. I really have to appreciate the weather here too. I mean, you can't really tell what the temperature is here right now, but it's probably in the 70s or 80s. But these guys must get wrecked every time there's a hurricane. I mean, we know they do. Because every time there's a massive hurricane moving towards like Texas or Florida, we're like, oh yeah, and Cuba is getting hit pretty hard right now. Oh nice, we found some more caves. Man, whenever you go to a poor country, you can always spot the tourist places, because they're always so well maintained compared to like the regular towns. Even when I went to Mexico, like the hotel resorts looked amazing, but then you drive into town and it's so run down, and everyone's so poor there. But I mean, I guess they want the tourists to feel welcome, and of course they know their fan base. All right, something I have to wonder. So I have a lot of viewers in the U.S. here. Are there many places in the U.S. that look like this, that look just like a jungle, like a rainforest, with lots of mountains, lots of palm trees, lots of just everything green? I mean, I have seen stuff kind of similar to this in Hawaii, but is there stuff like this around Florida or Georgia, stuff like that? Because usually when I see pictures of that over in that area, It's mostly just very flat marshland. There's not a whole lot of like big mountains or, you know, rainforest landscapes. I just think that's so weird that there's so much jungle and rainforest all over here, but basically none in our own country. But I think we're going to call it there, so that's what Cuba looks like. I probably came across a little different on this video. I don't know, I'm pretty tired. And it's been a few days since I made a video, so I didn't want to miss another day. But I'm still here. I still like looking at places that you don't see much. Because people tell me I should do videos like around the United States or around Europe. And I'm like, well, everybody's already seen that. It's no mystery as to like what it looks like to live in Orlando or something. But do you know what it would look like to live in Iceland? Or to live in Pakistan? Or to live in Gabon? Or just to visit places like these remote islands way out in Russia? But anyway, that's the world. I'll see you guys next time.
No, thinking is bad. Get rid of it. I'm trying. Throw it out the window. Throw it anywhere.